I think it's a real challenge, but I think the change hasn't really been happening over the last few years. I think the change has been happening for decades now. I'm old enough to go back, and while I didn't code, I do remember COBOL. And COBOL was the common business object language, which his whole intent was to allow business users without a technical background to develop things. And I think that's been the promise that we've had for what, 40 or 50 years now since COBOL came, but it's never happened. And I've actually written an article on this topic, which I think is being published in Forbes in a few weeks. Um, but for me, it's we're now at a pivotal point where this has to happen. We have to have technology omnipresence, as you put it, and I love that term, by the way. We have to have it. Technology is the DNA of all companies now. For me personally, I've spoken for the last 20 years about how every company is a technology company. You're a
Mm.
retailer, you sell sweaters and trousers and things. No, you're an e-commerce company, and it just happens that your product is sweaters and trousers. Your Google email, there's most companies today are in a digital world or digital enabling or technology enabling. And yet we still have this problem. So the responsibility within the workplace question that you asked, we still have this problem that technology is viewed as an enabling technology. And I believe, and one of the challenges I make to most technology leaders is, I believe technology leaders like that. They're below the parapet. They're not responsible for revenue. They're not responsible for driving profitability. What they are responsible for is delivering project A, B, and C. And that's easy. There's no revenue there. There's no metrics there. But if you're a technology enabled business, as all businesses are, technology people need to start stepping up. They need to start taking responsibility. And that underlying, we just help with the technology, has to fundamentally change in cultures and workplaces, because we're all technology now. And it's only getting more and more prevalent with the advent of AI. I think it's what's the time scale for this? I think we're in a transitionary period at the moment. We have ChatGPT and Gemini and other large language models. I did hear the term large task model, which is very much where Apple are coming to the whole Apple intelligence thing. So it's not just asking questions now, it's actually asking for generative AI to do tasks. And at
Mm.
that point, a lot of functions will go away, and business users will just be able to do the belief of COBOL. Business users can just do something simple, and the technology will take over. So I think we're getting there. I personally am very bullish. I think that's coming much quicker than most people believe. Most people, I think, still think it's 10, 15, 20 years away, and I don't. I think we're a matter of 3, 4, 5 years. We're just not there. However, there are some challenges to that mindset. And then I'll come back to your organization question, because I think that's quite important as well. The challenges with that whole time period are, at the moment, AI uses a lot of energy, and that's a challenge. Although Google have optimized their AI significantly, so they believe and they can do a large language query as cost effective in energy terms as a normal Google search, which is interesting. And then you've got the whole chip and the whole technology and everything else that's happening with it. And that's going to be a constraint as we go forward until we move the entire IT infrastructure over to these models. But from an organizational point of view, I think the challenge is, how do you get the ability for people to do IT without an IT team? And that's ultimately what it comes down to. And I think there'll always be someone there. There has to be. We can automate a lot on your computer, but ultimately your computer goes through all the different layers that you see from what your interaction down to the kernel of the operating system. We still need someone who's going to be able to write the kernel of the operating system and several of the layers above that for a long time to come. So I completely agree with your challenging and provocative question. I don't think we need an IT department either, but I think it's going to be a few years yet until we get there. But that for me is exciting. How many people can genuinely say they lived in a period where fundamentally entire industries, the entire commerce of the world is
Mm.
changed?
Hmm.
We're in the middle of it now, and I don't think people recognize we're in the middle of that now.